So, I will have a final video on the World Cup, which is over now, okay, for 2 days, and I will mainly just talk about it a little bit, and I would like to, show a few things and mention a few things, and also some stats, and I would also like to refer to, a few things. Oh, the sun is... No, I can't get it. So, it's 2 days now that it's over. It's really a mess here. I don't know, how far can I go though? Okay. And what do you think about the World Cup? And we hear all the experts talking about it, and the good points, bad points, whatever you might work out. Or if you listen to them, or you rather make up your mind yourself. Okay, we did have a look at the stats every other day, but first of all, I would like to point out, I mean, it's over for 2 days now, and then the comments I heard was somehow, well, we can be glad it's over, which means to me it's the maximum we can take, right? 64 games within these 4 weeks, and in the group stage, it's a bit too much, too many games, 3 games per day, which it's really how much can you take and watch and be excited about it, or if you have your bets running maybe, but otherwise it's a lot, and then you get these 2 days, 3 days rest and so on, and then you almost forget that there's still a World Cup going on. I'm not sure. So I would say that's the maximum we can take. I mean, you can also say 2 days rest, and then we're ready to celebrate. But it's not all the world celebrating, and actually, because the teams are going out and just a few are left, and actually, in terms of what did we see in football-wise, and is the game itself exciting enough, and is it just, or is it, I mean, the referee, VAR, did it do the game itself any good? I would still say you feel the decisions are arbitrary. When you have the decision in the final, this is handball. I would always agree that's a handball, but you can't say, in this one case, I'm going to give a penalty, and in 10 others, I did not give one. So you feel anyone is obliged actually to feel that arbitrary. It is 50-50, could do, or he could deny, and then half of the world would say, well, that was a clear penalty, and the other half would say no. There is no reliable guideline that you can say, okay, now we found the truth, which was partly my prediction anyway. So what would you expect? I mean, you have discussions before, and you have discussions after that, and when they at halftime, they say in the studio here in Sky, experts, or the ARD, or ZDF, the main stations here, the broadcasting services, and they say, well, this was a bad decision, and this was wrong, you can't give a penalty here, and that was referees saying that. So that proves that that it leads to nothing. I mean, what we needed would be a different kind of thinking. The USA, when they made the World Cup in 1994, they said what we need are goals, and they tried to change the rules to get some goals. And obviously, you say for every game where you had some goals, and you will keep in mind, you will have in memory, and easily you can say, well, we had Portugal, Spain. Who would not know the result? We had the France, Argentina. Who wouldn't have forgotten the result? I mean, you can't forget that. And you have the final, which you may say, oh, okay, in the end we did have some goals, but there was kind of lack of excitement, and also kind of lack of justice, which people would still might still feel. I mean, I say this is a handball for sure, and you can't. Well, you could have seen it in the first place. What's wrong with that? But they never give those kind of penalties, so it makes it arbitrary. But I'm for sure I would support this kind of penalties. and but they would always have to award those. I mean, we had this Ramos or Piqué, who was that in the area in Spain, who handled the ball and then he said play on, or something like that. There were things like that. Anyway, so in terms of justice, in terms of excitement, in terms of, well, what would you need if you didn't make a bet, you just want to watch football, then you need some tension within the games. And of course we can look at the results here and say, okay, which one of these was exciting, or which one did you like, or but usually it would mean, I mean, you wait for the first goal and then you rather know the winner. And which is, I mean, where are the games that had been turned around? I mean, you would not keep in mind or in your memory that Tunisia turned around against Panama. So forget that one. Anyway, it's a lack of excitement for me, and I'm still going to watch football. But I would say just some more goals, and they would easily be there if just the rules were applied. You just need to apply the rules, which means you have many such situations when you see striker and defender. They are running for the ball and they both do like that. But you could as well say it's always the defender trying to stop the attacker, because the other one is just doing it to defend himself because he's been attacked irregularly. If you understand that kind of concept, then you would say the defenders are always ready to commit a foul. And if you would say, well, if you start, this is going to be a foul, this is going to be a free kick. And it's not just going to be a free kick, but it's also, you have to count the fouls or something like that, because you can't say you can foul and foul and foul and nothing happens, except a yellow card at some point, which still never leads to sending off. Anyway, this is one thing. And the other, for example, if there's a corner coming in, right, the referees they took the players because they see the defenders are doing like that and the strikers are trying to find some space, so they also might push or something like that. So then he would order them to have some serious talk to them, and then he would say, well, I'm gonna watch you and so on. But he's never gonna give a penalty. So what is it? Why is he calling the striker to? Or I mean, what's the sense in that? Where's the sense? He either gives a free kick for the defenders or play on, but never a penalty. So why he can stop talking to them? What is he gonna tell them? Especially the striker. You're not allowed to do that. Okay, I know that, but stop him doing so. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if you would stop that. That's the simple conclusion. And we would see a lot more action in front of goal. You would not see all those penalties coming, which people complain about. They say we get 20 penalties like that. The defenders know what is allowed and what is not allowed. If you have your hand here and you get the ball against it, then it's a penalty. So you rather keep your arms here. And that's what they could do. They still would do like this, and they have done that, and also when the wall is jumping, right, they do things like that, and you always get an elbow, something in the way, and then they rarely ever award a penalty for that. So easily that would be more goals, but not by penalties, but rather by defenders knowing what is allowed and what is not allowed, and they wouldn't do things that are not allowed because they lead to a penalty. Anyway, so if you watch those games and you still did, and you still might have felt excited about it, there is a lack of tension which you could easily enhance, make grow with some more goals, because you will always have in mind those games. And usually the commentators, they would still say when a game kicks off, let's hope for some fair football, maybe some justice. That's not what they would say, but they strongly go against the felt injustice. But anyway, and we want some goals. That's what they usually say. So some fair football, no fouls. So how would you achieve that? By making punishment or inventing some kind of punishment which makes it unattractive for the defenders. They do foul these days, and they do foul a lot. First of all, because they think they get away with it, and secondly, because they know even if they award a free kick for that, it is still better than letting the striker go. So, and if there is still like 40%, 45% goals from set pieces, 40%, something like that, it still means they can do something from those set pieces, and they exercise because they know or they practice. I mean, they simply say those tall defenders, they go up front and they know, and they can place the ball well on their heads, and then they usually, okay. But they got a couple of players up front, which usually can't be blocked so well by defenders. And actually, if there's a mass of players, which usually they don't all go forward. They never get there because the ball, you try to get the ball forward and you don't get very far, but you wouldn't get all the defenders moving up the pitch, right? That is what the very top teams do, that they slowly push the opposition back so that all the players are taking part in the attack, which is Barcelona style or something like that, when still the last defender, he's at the edge of the middle circle. I don't know what that's called. But he's still distributing the balls from there and taking part in the attack like that. Anyway, and the set pieces, of course, that's one conclusion you can have. I mean, there had been plenty of goals by set pieces, and they are going to practice and they are going to work out some decent ideas how to score from there and not just kick the ball in or somewhere so they just are going to practice. So we will have this amount of goals, which you can see here as well. I expected 2.51. That's just 90 minutes because you see here no goals in extra time or things like that. Semi-final. They are not counted for me because I'm just caring for the 90 minutes. And usually betting goes on 90 minutes. Of course, if you want team to qualify, you need the penalties or whatever it is. But we had 2.59, which is more than I expected, and the totals, it's just like these, 2 goals. 2 goals too many, something like that, right? This is too few and this is too many, so two goals too many. I mean, so I couldn't be any closer, right? If we had 4 goals here in this final, then I would have been there. I mean, exactly hitting the mark. 2.51. Anyway, and the about the favorites getting through, that is still a bit too many of them. So we did have a slight overhead for the favorites winning, which may not have appeared like that. But it still was the case in the end. But I'll bring to your memory here the Uruguay scoring in the last minute, or Germany against Sweden, or there had been a couple of other very late goals where huge favorites did win their games, which could have gone otherwise as well. So we could easily have some more surprises. The last one was here, or no, Croatia-England was a small, but as soon as you reach 30% with that, it means usually you have a pretty even game, which was not quite market's view, and I'm coming back to getting back to that. And this one, also Brazil-Belgium, obviously was an outsider winning, and I still consider this a good game, but you feel a lack of excitement because you would wish simply Brazil to score the second, just to have an extra time. Maybe Belgium did a good job, but still it was a bit sad that Brazil, with so many attempts, that they couldn't score, and somehow you get desperate yourself in front of TV because you say, well, why wouldn't the better team just be able to score a goal? It doesn't happen. And anyway, World Cup was fine. Some goals and some favorites and some outsiders. It pretty much went the way I could have predicted. Well, getting back to that, I would like to mention at one point at least that my team from start to finish had been Croatia, and I just watched a video that I recorded early on. It was World Cup Prediction 2, I think. You can still have a look there, or you trust me, or you remember anyway. But that I said that Croatia are the top bet in this tournament. And I didn't say maybe top, but there was the biggest margin in all their games. And I actually went through the whole squad and I read all the teams they play, and I said, well, this is, I mean, they are just good. Why don't they recognize that? I don't know. I can't see the reason still. And by reaching the final, I can be quite happy, because this was, yeah, it was my premium bet for the whole competition. And of course, it would have been fine if they won it, but actually France was also okay, because I was pretty going along with the market, so nothing wrong with that anyway. But there was the biggest margin in Croatia. It was a bit sad that Switzerland went out against Sweden, which I can say at least, because it was on penalties, and actually I still feel they didn't deserve it. I find no, it wasn't a penalty, sorry, it was a 1-0, but Switzerland did produce enough chances to at least equalize. I mean, they started to celebrate Sweden, but actually they had a pretty easy opponent in this last 16 game, and it was a 1-0. I think the better side lost, and for me, I watched the game, of course, maybe you did, was the better side that lost. But all that matters is score that one goal, and then defending. Yeah, they all can defend, and they managed to. But Switzerland was still better. They deserved a goal. It wasn't to be, and they usually were those games when yeah, okay, it happened. I mean, Colombia equalized against England in the last minute, for example, which was one of the good. I mean, when you hope for something to happen, right? It's just, and England weren't that good in that game, and I think Colombia actually deserved it very late on to equalize. They still went out, which was a bit sad somehow. But England, I mean, you can support them as well. But as I'm saying, you wait for those goals, and they did come in some cases. They didn't come in too many of the cases, but they did come. So you can still say there was some excitement. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, usually you had this one goal and you know the winner, but it had not been quite the case, right? When Japan went up 2 goals, that was the one game I forgot to mention, but you will all have that in mind. But Japan were 2 goals up, and Belgium went on winning with 3 goals. But what I admire Japan for that approach and for that effort, and really, I mean, what I'm a bit worried by or angry about, maybe, that the people do not notice. I mean, when they say that was so well played by Belgium when they scored the 3-2 winner, what happened there was Japan tried for the winner, and they did it all last 10 minutes. And if you do not notice that, I mean, that is a great approach to that game, right? They are not afraid of anything. I mean, what can happen to them? They can lose, okay, and that is what happened. But they knew that in front, right? They knew it in advance, so they just went for it, and they did come pretty close. So that was one real big chance for another surprise, which wasn't to be, but was also a last-minute goal, like the ones I mentioned before, to make that average here a bit lower. But Japan went up with all players in the last minute when they had a corner kick, I think, and then they did come pretty close, lost the ball, and Belgium had all freedom. That it was like they were winning 2-1, and so they scored a 3-1, which occurs frequently. But in that case, it was a 2-2, so Japan could have stood back and say, okay, we're going to wait for the extra time, and we're going to wait for the penalties. They didn't do that. I admire that. But we had some excitement. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, and what I wanted to say and refer to is Germany's exit. And I know now exactly what I would like to say about it or how I feel about it. And this is, I mean, when I say Germany, and I tried to record some videos also about luck in Germany's luck in big competitions. And I'm you know, I would say I can prove they had been lucky, and people, they just hear around, they would just walk by this, or yeah, they forgot about. I mean, how many games they did when they were the worst side, or when they should have lost, or they scored a late winner, they won on penalties. They always say, okay, that's because we can score penalties, or we can score from the spot, or we got the good nerves, we're a tournament team. I don't know, but I can't hear all that crap rubbish, because I say that they can be lucky, and that anyone can be lucky, but how does he take it? How does he handle it? What does he think about it? And usually they react falsely to that, and that is usually the case. So luck is quite a danger, because you tend to misassess. I don't know if this is a word, but you assess wrongly future events. And that is what I can say about Germany, because always when there's a big competition coming, I feel a bit uncomfortable about it, because I know already, I mean, this is all Germany, and you got all those stickers, and we're gonna be World Cup, European champions, we're gonna win, we're gonna score goals. I don't know, they all say the same. Yeah, Germany are gonna win the World Cup, they're gonna win the European Championship, and Germany are the best, and they always somehow get through, and so on. So they mishandle their luck. They don't know that you have to say, okay, thanks a lot, we won that game, thanks a lot. I mean, how do we deserve this another share of this luck, and why did we? But they don't say that. Instead, they say, because we are better, because we are the big team, we are Germans, and we know how to win. We lost all the wars, but we know how to win football games. And okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. You can't stand that in advance. I mean, before the tournament kickoff, because they are all wrong. I mean, they can say, okay, ask someone in Argentina, what would he say? Argentina are going to be world champions. Okay, he's going to say that. But somehow he knows as well, and he can put up with this not happening. But here in Germany, they can't put up with that, because they had too much of it. And anyway, this is a general thing that I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to point out, and I'm trying to record those videos, and maybe one day you will see, and I will prove how many games there were when they shouldn't have won, but they still did, and how close they were to losing those games. Like in 1996, get back to that, when Paul Gascoigne, he just needed to tap in the ball, and that was golden goal, right? Times. And he was already arms in the air, and he just needed to step the ball over the line. But he somehow reduced his tempo, because he was so certain that he's going to be the hero. And for some reason, someone got his foot into the way, and he wouldn't score. So this was the closest for him to exit. But they forget it. They forget about that. Or when Chris Waddle, also English, in the semi-final in 1990, hit the post. Okay, inside the post. Ball went out. Doesn't matter. This is Germany. They're not going to concede. Anyway, so I know in advance I can't stand that, and I would like to say, okay, they may have their chance, but others are no worse. And why shouldn't they exit at an early stage? And of course, when you live here, you also see them. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen again. It is. They went through, and they are the ones to celebrate. But you see that they are lucky. So you say, well, why shouldn't they exit at some point? And I wish for that somehow. But what I know now is why I have this bad feelings, why I feel so uncomfortable. Because I know that the reaction is even worse if they lose. You can't stand that. You can stand that even less. Because any expert now, and what they try to do is, because they are experts, Now everyone finds a different reason what they've done wrong. Because he wouldn't say the same that the other one did, because he's got to find a new reason. So we got 89 reasons why Germany did not win and why they actually could not win. I just say, show me your bank account. Where's all the money you made with betting that Germany are going to exit? Because it was so obvious that they can't succeed with this team and with this stuff and with those decisions and with this lineup and with this tactics and with this goalkeeper, or no idea, and everyone got a different thing to say about it, and you can't hear that anymore. This is so, you get really, well, I'm lost for words. It is so annoying, you can't stand that, and everyone has to say something about it. I mean, shut up. I mean, you won so many times. Don't you understand that? You won the World Cup so many times. How can you ask for this happening again? Go to your knees and say, thanks a lot that we did get all that luck. And why wouldn't, why can you, ask for more? We're gonna ask for more. We have to ask for more. We are Germans. We deserve all this luck. I don't know. So I know already, if they are going through, you can't stand it at all. But if they are gonna go out, it's gonna be even worse. And this is, I just wanted to, yeah. They didn't play any bad. They didn't play any worse than they did in plenty of other competitions. And they always went on winning them. Okay, now I'm ready with that. Okay, so this is my World Cup review, I would say, and I'm quite pleased, keeping it short. And okay, I think we covered the main parts that I wanted to say. And okay, thanks a lot. Enjoy. Leave your likes if you would wish to, and think about my words. Okay, keep them in mind. Thanks for watching. Bye.